Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you. That's depending where you are in the world. It is our nighttime devotion. We're doing the devotional is called Conflict and Courage. The title today. It works two ways. Matthew 7 verse 2. With what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. Saul could not but feel that his son was preferred before him, both by the people and by the Lord. Jonathan's deliverance was a severe reproof to the king's rashness. He felt a presentiment that his curses would return upon his own head. He did not longer continue the war with the Philistines, but returned to his home moody and dissatisfied. Those who are most ready to excuse or justify themselves in sin are often most severe in judging and condemning others. Many, like Saul, bring upon themselves the displeasure of God, but they reject counsel and despise reproof. Even when convinced that the Lord is not with them, they refuse to see in themselves the cause of their trouble. They cherish a proud, boastful spirit, while they indulge in cruel judgment or severe rebuke of others who are better than they. Often those who are seeking to exalt themselves are brought into positions where their true character is revealed. So it was in the case of Saul. His own course convinced the people that kingly honor and authority were dearer to him than justice, mercy, or benevolence. Thus the people were led to see their error in rejecting the government that God had given them. They had exchanged the pious prophet, whose prayers had brought down blessings, for a king who in his blind zeal had prayed for a curse upon them. Had not the men of Israel interposed to save the life of Jonathan, their deliverer would have perished by the king's decree. With what misgivings must that people afterward have followed Saul's guidance? How bitter the thought that they had been placed upon the throne, that he had been placed upon the throne by their own act. The Lord bears long with the waywardness of men, and to all he grants opportunity to see and forsake their sins. But while he may seem to prosper those who disregard his will and despise his warnings, he will, in his own time, surely make manifest their folly. And the title again, it works two ways. So the people, it says, soon came to realize that the man they chose to be their king, instead of being content with having God as their leader and their king, they wanted, just like all the other nations, they wanted to have an earthly king. And then, of course, after this experience, they soon came to realize that Saul was not as cracked up as they thought him to be. Very flawed, very full of self and pride. And he was willing to forsake them to remain king, as well as his son. And it was the people that saved his son. And then it's as it says here, he was so lacking in confidence that he felt that, what does it say here? He felt that the people preferred Jonathan to him, as he also thought that God preferred Jonathan to him. And he would kind of be correct, because the people then understood that this guy Saul, I was going to say was a loser. Yeah, he was, but basically he was, he lacked wisdom, justice, compassion, which is what a true leader should have. So the people were led to see their error in rejecting the government that God had already been giving them, and then allowed them to choose their king. And when they had the king, he disregarded God and also disregarded Samuel, and chose his own way, his own decision making, and he basically fell flat on his face, and, as you will soon learn, eventually loses his life. It works two ways. You cannot expect to have God's blessings if you do not seek his counsel. And by seeking his counsel, that means you are consulting with him every day, because you should be seeking his counsel every day. You should be praying to him and giving him yourself, which isn't easy. Of course it's not easy, because this world teaches you about pride and be independent, and etc. And it's not about that at all. We are required to be dependent on God and interdependent upon each other, but first and foremost on God. And if we give everything we have to God, he will bless us to give us everything we need. Not necessarily what we want, but what we need. There are many things that we may want that really might not be any good for us. But this is where contentment and understanding his will for our lives and where he wants us to be and do. God bless you.